This is Jonathan Lane from Fan Film Factor, and today I am here with the Fan Film Factory that is Mr. Samuel Cockings, the British CGI genius and the showrunner behind the Trek Short series of fanthology films that are just, I mean, it's like watching popcorn pop, folks. There's just so many of them. In fact, there's so many of them that I can barely keep up, which is why this blog is actually talking about 4 different fan films today, all of them starring the lovely NIMRAN SAUND. And she stars as Anna Keeley in, most recently, Living the Dream, as well as Legacy of the Enterprise NX-01, Legacy of the Enterprise NCC-1701A, and Legacy of the Enterprise NCC-1701C. Plays Anna Keeley, whom we have now seen as a cadet. We have seen as an ensign, we have seen as a lieutenant, as a commander, and as a captain, not yet as an admiral, though, which is a very interesting concept for an actress, I am sure, to play yourself at so many different points in time of your character's career, thanks to Sam's aging and de-aging machine. However, before we start chatting with Nimran, about all the stuff that she has done with this character, I want to mention that there is currently a crowdfunder, a GoFundMe, for Sam's pursuits, the pursuit of his dream, which is, you know, his dream is obviously our dream as well, of the Trek shorts. So Sam, every year it seems that there is another crowdfunder for Trek shorts. This one is trying to reach 4,000 pounds, I believe. I'm trying to lose 40 pounds myself, but okay, so you're about, I think when last I checked, about 70% of the way there. You keep asking us for money. We keep giving it to you. Why? Why do we keep giving you money? I know why we keep giving you money. But why do you need it? What are you, because, and the reason I'm going to ask this is, obviously, you don't use sets. Everything is green screen. You know, you're pretty much, I mean, you occasionally film on locations, but, you know, you're shooting everybody in a living room. Obviously, you have to pay for uniforms, but you've got so many uniforms at this point. So what are we giving you money for? Can you tell us?
Well, more films. I mean, you say what's the funds for? I mean, how many films are released in the last 12 months? An insane amount, and none of them were originally concepted. So, well, I think one was maybe. So it's, you know, new things, new ideas, new visions, new, you know, saving lower decks, things that take budget. You know, everything small takes budget. Trying to do one big thing takes even more budget. You know, you want to get actors down, that's expenses, that's hotels, non-negotiable. I think for one of our Prodigy film shoots, now we can announce it for the big Prodigy thing, we had to get actors down for one weekend, and it was like £1,600 on hotels or something. Like, it was something, because that was the one day we had for all people. Like, that's a cost, and we didn't plan for it. But obviously, you know, hard drives, got to get 18 terabyte hard drives, and you know, that's like half my paycheck for the year, for the month, etc. Uniforms, so the cadet uniform, that was brand new, tailored. That was quite expensive, but now it's for any film, any option. Prodigy uniform, you know, it's all the small things that mount up, and especially if you're one cool thing in any given film, new sets, music. I mean, we have a lot, but we aim for new cool things, and each new cool thing takes a bit of time, effort, and budget. So stuff
Now,
you
when you
haven't
say
seen yet,
new
stuff you know.
sets, I mean, when
Well,
you say
digital
new sets,
sets.
what you mean is the digital sets that
Yeah,
you're.
I mean, everything takes, you know, some form of budget, and you know, we do a lot of cool things. So
Yeah, because you do not build all of your 3D sets and ships. You're more of
wonderful
an
team,
animator.
wonderful team.
One full team. So you have a team of people, and sadly, at least when it comes to VFX and modeling, these people don't work for free. I mean, I know that the
I always just
guidelines
say
say that.
budget. You know,
Yeah.
some amount of budget to do things. So,
Well, I mean, because
but
the
look at the
guidelines say
cool
you're not
stuff we
supposed to.
do.
Yeah.
So,
The cool stuff that you develop. Look, here's the thing, and the guidelines do say you're not supposed to, you know, pay anybody to work on your fan films, and it just the one thing that I personally think is an exception to that rule, or at least needs to be an exception to that rule, is the 3D stuff, only because it is so time consuming for so many people to model the stuff, to texture it, to render it, to, you know, lay it out. I just you know, I mean, I realize that they're never going to, you know, rewrite the fan film guidelines at this point, but, you know, at this point, I think the understanding is that, yeah, you know, visual effects are not free. Neither is pizza. You know, I mean, the thing is, if you're going to have you're going to feed your people. You're going to pay the people who are making the food. You know, they're not just going to do it for free for you. And I think it's the same way for the visual effects aspect of it. So anyway, Sam, let me ask a question. Your GoFundMe is open ended at this
Hmm.
point. Are you planning on ending it, or just sort of leaving it up indefinitely, or until next year when you have, assuming your next crowdfunder?
Well, I mean, it's sort of the get us through the summer campaign. We've got Indiegogo planned in the end of the year when we have lots of perks, which we've been collecting over the last year, all signed stuff and some fun stuff. So it's kind of to costs mount up, and I couldn't fund it any further. So that was set up to help. To be a shame to sort of stop all production for a month or 2 months or 3 months, and no one wants that. So go fund me until we can begin to go and hopefully secure the budget properly. Because the GoFundMe is kind of a plaster, but plasters are well needed. So helps out if you can.
Okay, so the GoFundMe is for the summer to sort of just keep the car going with a little bit more petrol, as you say
Yep.
in the UK, and then at the end of the year, then we'll have a nice big Indiegogo, and that's when you can really give until it hurts. But
And we just keep
folks,
making. Yeah.
you just keep. I mean, how many Trek shorts at this
Who
point?
knows, Jonathan? Who knows?
Who knows? I'll put it in the blog somewhere.
The issue
Uh,
is everyone wants to tell more stories. And when we've got such talented actors and actresses who have great characters, you want to do more with them. And they all want to do more. Every single one. I mean, Nim's trying to pitch a musical episode.
oh, cool. Do you sing, Nim? Are you a musical actress?
Um, yeah,
Well, let's.
I am, but not. I haven't been musically like trained, let's say. I've had singing lessons, and like in uni we had voice, speech and movement, and we had a module where we did a lot of musicals. So I have experience, but I wouldn't say I'm like trained in that. But I'm always up for doing it. I tried with Temporal Anomaly all those years ago. We have behind the scenes footage of it. Sam still has it, so maybe he'll show you one day.
Oh, that'd be cool. Maybe if Sam, do you still have that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Everything's there.
okay. Well, in that case, then Sam's going to give it to me, and I'm going to insert it right now.
Yeah, you got it. Are you going to run any of the other Enterprise legacy programs?
If we're not caught in another space battle. Ha! Well, do any of them feature my great-great-granddad?
John Lawson.
Harriman!
Damn it! John Harriman.
Yes!
Ah, yes. You're going to love this one.
Oh, am I now?
It features an alternate
alternate
timeline where a super being has taken over the Federation
And created
and created his own something.
Empire.
Empire, that's the one. Interesting stuff.
Sounds fun. What time is it?
It's about 1500 hours.
Oh, crap. Almost time for my duty shift.
Meet you at the hall.
That was pretty darn good. Anyway,
It was
yeah.
me and my friend were just kind of joking around. So it's a funny one. It's not like professional or
No,
as it would be on stage.
it sounded so much better than what I could do. So
Yeah.
that's
No.
all right. So now let's shift our focus over here to Nimran. So people don't really know a lot about you. They've seen Anna Keeley so much, but I mean, this is the first time I've seen you out of uniform, young lady. That's
I still
it's
kind of look
beautiful.
like I'm in uniform. I've got a shirt on.
Yeah, you do have a shirt on, at least, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's green. I mean, there's not a lot of green uniforms there in Starfleet. But so anyway, I'd like to ask you a whole bunch of stuff, but first I want to ask you a little bit about your background. I mean, obviously, ethnically, I'm guessing you're Indian.
Yeah, I am.
Uh, Now, how many generations has your family been in England?
Oh God. I think so. Oh, okay. I need to. I think about 4 or 5, perhaps. Yeah, I
Okay,
think
well,
4 or 5.
I was curious
Yeah.
about that. When a lot of times here in America we have like first generation, second generation, immigrants, and then you get occasionally third or fourth generation. So I was just kind of wondering how far back things went there in merry old England for you. But anyway, back to Star Trek, because that is what we want to talk about. Well, more specifically, we want to talk about Nim. And so you met Sam back at university, as they say in Great Britain, back in what, 2012, 2013? Was that?
Yeah, I think it was 2012 because it was second year of uni.
Long
So
time
that must
ago.
have been yeah,
And
2012.
were you studying acting back then?
Yeah, so I was studying drama and theatre studies. And I actually Matt. I actually met Sam due to the fact that I was living with two of his friends. So they were both on my drama course as well. And I actually I keep wanting to say Matt, I don't know. I've had a really long day. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Maybe you need a little.
Oh God. Yeah, definitely. Get me some Romulan ale.
There you go.
Yeah, so we met through mutual friends and yeah, we hung out a fair amount. And then Sam, I don't know if you know about how temporal anomaly kind of came together, but he
Well,
had
even if I do, there are people watching this who don't. So feel free to
oh,
provide
okay,
as
fair
much
enough, fair
background as
enough.
you'd like.
Yeah, so Sam sort of put together a film and he had already cast everyone, and I think one of the cast members couldn't actually make the reading of the script, so he sort of asked me if I could step in for them. So I did. And at the end of the script read, he was like, wow, okay, like I think I would like to cast you instead. And I was like, oh, okay. Because prior to that, we had done, I don't want to call them silly films, but little kind of like films that didn't really, yeah, they didn't go anywhere, they didn't take off. It was just, I think it was just like fun little projects that we just
Well,
thought,
Nim was
yeah,
kind of a
why not?
side friend in a nice way.
Oh,
Like,
a side friend.
like a friend of a friend, a friend with a friend, but we didn't, hang out as an active thing, which
Not
is
anymore.
fine.
Now
No,
you're
yeah.
now there's one
Yeah,
degree
well,
of
exactly. Yeah,
separation.
that's what I mean at the start. But then
Samuel will always be my side friend.
back in 2012. But then she came and helped with
No,
some
now.
student based content. But my own film was far more important in that sense. And yeah, she just excelled so well in the screen read. Just like this, you just sing with this character for whatever reason. Do you
Yeah,
want
You
that
to?
do a really
Rachel
good
feeling.
job, in temporal anomaly, and that that was Sam's first real endeavor into Star Trek fan films before Trek shorts. And it
Yeah,
finally came out in 2019, which was
yeah.
6
That was
years
a
after
long
film.
wait.
Mm-hmm.
Really long
And
wait.
I think we'd
Bit of a
already.
perfectionist, yeah.
Well, I just kept improving, and we were crowdfunding Convergence when that came out. I think that was
Yeah.
rough, or at least with somewhat. So it was kind of like we knew we were doing more when we finally got the first one out,
Mm.
and then expanded from there.
Now, for you, Anna, I'm going to keep calling you Anna throughout
Don't
this interview.
worry,
So
I do it as well, don't I, Sam? Like sometimes he'll interview me after the films and I'll be like, oh, hi, I'm Anna Keeley. And I'm like, wait, no, I'm not.
no, I'm Nimrod.
I have
Okay.
imposter syndrome.
There you go. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna keep my mouse hovering over your particular. The folks watching this can't see this, but when my mouse hovers over Nim's thing, it actually says Nim in the bottom corner for it. So that'll just keep reminding me of who you are. But anyway. So
I'm that forgettable and I'm a side friend. We're off to a great start.
Your name's
But Keeley's that memorable. That's the important thing.
Well, Anna
But me,
Keeley, I mean, well, keep in mind, most of the time I've seen you has been as Anna Keeley. I haven't really seen you as Nimrod.
It's very true, yeah.
But anyway, so you come into this acting situation, in 2012, 2013, and suddenly you're acting in front of a green screen. Had you done anything like that before at the time?
No, so Temporal Anomaly was actually my first ever, not only film experience, but green screen experience. So I have like, obviously part of my course we perform on stage, so I was very much a stage performer. And it wasn't until we filmed the Temporal Anomaly that I, yeah, sort of had that first introduction, and now I'm probably more experienced in film than I am in stage performing now because I've done it for so long. But yeah, that was a very interesting experience, especially because my costume didn't arrive on time, and I actually had to film some of my scenes by myself, and then Sam had to like edit me in. So not only was I sort of learning the ropes of how to, you know, visualize my environment, but also kind of be entwined with the story and imagine, like physically imagine people in my space who I'm supposed to be talking to and engaging with. And I
So
also have to react to them. Like, I found that quite challenging. And I think I remember there was a scene where I just was not getting it, and I was getting so frustrated because I'd never dealt with anything like that. But I think now when that does happen, I think I can bounce back a lot quicker. Like, I might feel frustrated, and then Sam might say something and direct me, and then I'll be like absolutely fine. But back then it was, I feel like, a long process.
Well, as an actress, I mean, obviously not everybody watching this is, a thespian, but for those people who are, and for those people who aren't, can you sort of explain a little bit what you have to do as an actress when, first of all, there's a green screen, so you have no idea what your set is going to look like or whatever. That there's other people that you're interacting with that are not there. So you sort of have to assume that they're there and look at certain things. What do you do as an actress to make that work? I'm guessing there's a lot of challenges to it.
There is definitely. Well, I think firstly, just like I said before, like visualizing your space, whether that be like actively marking out certain areas where your eye line will be, how tall people are. Like, obviously, I'm I'm sure you've seen films with Marcus in, and he's very tall. Yeah, he's even taller because Sam makes him stand with his legs wide apart and whilst wearing heeled boots. So he's actually a lot taller than what he appears on screen. So someone like that, when he's not physically there, and obviously, yeah, like you have to make sure that your eye lines are correct. And so that's, yeah, the first thing I would say is like just making sure you know where everything is, and you kind of really go through the scene. What happens in this scene? How am I feeling? What are my reactions going to be? How am I going to say this particular line? Thinking about like the emotions, just, yeah, like really trying to live through that experience, but then also having to visualize everything and make sure that you know where everything is.
And then, of course, the other issue I'm sure is that you're delivering your lines without necessarily knowing what the other person's lines are going to sound like.
Yes, so I think we do often, read through the scripts beforehand, even right before we start shooting the scene. Like, Sam will make us go through the scene, have a little read through. So I sometimes pick up, I think naturally anyways, as actors, like you pick up on other people's lines, and there's been some scenarios where, like, either I've forgotten a line, or like one of my I was going to say colleagues, one of my fellow actors have forgotten a line, and we'll just remind each other because we've picked it up, because you're shooting it again and again, in different ways. So that's always a plus. And oh God, now my mind's gone elsewhere and I've forgotten the question. Sorry.
Oh, no, and you were doing fine. You were doing so well.
Oh
No,
God.
you pick it up with the scene. No, it was basically just talking about, how you perform a scene with other people when the other people aren't there to necessarily, do their lines at the same time you're doing your lines.
Yes,
And then
there we go.
the challenges for that. Now, on the other hand, there's a lot of times, especially with your character of Anna Keeley, where you are talking to yourself.
Jumped to warp. What's going on? Did someone just steal the Defiant?
I think
Anna
you're the
loves to talk, but not
She-
only just talking, she just loves to talk to herself. I know a
Some
lot of the
people
fans
do.
are like, wow, I like Anna Keeley, but she talks far too much. And I'm like, I know I can talk a lot, but like sometimes I feel like Anna's just a bit unnecessary with her words.
Although less as she gets older, it's more of a young her
It's
thing.
true. It is
Captain
true.
Keely's very
I think,
doesn't say that
yeah,
much.
I think
well,
it
that's
comes, I think
because
it
Captain
comes
Keeley
with
is a
the
peer
whole
with other
territory of
people.
like not knowing and not being so sure of yourself and being sure of yourself. Because when you're not sure of yourself, you tend to overthink things. You tend to, you know, like vocalize a lot more and be a bit more outward. And then as you grow wiser and, you know, you're growing up the ranks, then you do kind of become a bit more inward and you're a lot more sure of yourself. So therefore, like, yeah, the speech isn't as outward in that sense.
It's fair to say in the two bigger films, because shooting with casts, we tend to either do very small films or the bigger films. Obviously, budget
Yeah.
really goes in one direction on those. And I think in both the larger pieces with the Whale Probe and Vija, there's almost no monologue-y stuff from Keely because she's all on mission, she's focused, she's in command of the situations normally. So it's a contrast thing. You want the flaws in the early person because they're young, and you see that growth. So we've obviously focused on some younger stories to set the characters so that when you see the older stories, you know them more, and some of those foibles come from that. But later on, yeah, she's confident and officery.
Well, I think the other
You'll
reason.
see.
Well, I think the other reason, obviously, that you see Anna talking to herself so frequently, is simply that if she weren't talking to herself in a lot of the episodes where you're just piloting a shuttle or whatever, all you would just do is see a silent Anna just doing this.
Mm,
That's kind of boring to watch for 15 minutes. So
yeah.
you really have to get into it. So yeah, we totally understand. But for you, the question once again as an actor. On your end, you are now delivering a monologue, an internal monologue externally. You're talking to yourself. So, that has the potential of being boring or interesting. Obviously, you choose to make it interesting as an actress, but the question is how? How do you, Nimran, everyone's gonna say Anna.
You can just call me Nim. It's honestly easier.
Okay, Nim.
Everyone's always like, I get like NIMRAN, Oh, this, I think I've gotten NIMRAN before. Yeah.
Is it Nimran or Nimran? What is it?
It's NIMRAN.
Nimran.
Yeah, NIMRAN.
Nimran. Just
So none of
Yeah.
these you said, Jocelyn.
It's so funny because I feel like when I say it properly, then when someone says it back to me, it's almost like they are saying RIN, like NIMRIN.
Well,
It's quite hard. That's why I've just shortened it to Nim. I'm just like, Nim's nice and easy. It's short and sweet.
there was an
I'm happy.
episode. There was an episode of one of the 1970s sitcoms. I don't remember which one it was, but Rob Reiner was playing. I think it was the Odd Couple, but he was playing the character of Sheldon, and Sheldon had a typo on his birth certificate, and they left out the O. So it's basically SHELDN. So it wasn't Sheldon, it was Sheldon. And so he kept correcting people, and every time they called him Sheldon, he said, no, Sheldon.
Oh gosh.
Nimran.
Yeah, Nimran. Yeah.
Or Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Why isn't it Spider-Man?
Why isn't it Spider-Man? You know, like Goldman, Silverman.
Because it's not his last name.
It isn't?
No, it's not like Phil Spiderman. Like Goldman is a last name, but there's no Goldman.
Oh, okay. There should be a gold man.
Back to the question. So you are talking to yourself in a shuttlecraft, and what are you telling yourself as an actor to do or to think or whatever to deliver these lines in a way that feels more engaging to the viewer?
So first of all, like you go through, read the monologue, digest it, and then sort of ask questions about why your character might be saying certain things or what they're sort of vocalizing or trying to vocalize in that moment. And then, yeah, you're trying to work out the meaning behind the monologue. And then when it comes to acting, you know, you don't want to just read it all in the same way. Like, you want it to come to life. So you think about things like inflection. How am I going to say certain words? How am I feeling in this moment? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling upset, angry, etc.? That will then obviously, influence the intonation of your voice. So yeah, there's like multiple things that you kind of look at when you're performing a monologue. Otherwise, it's very just one-dimensional. Otherwise,
Almost the better question is, how do you add the Trek-isms to it? If you don't know what the hell the
Oh.
Dominion battleship is,
oh well,
how the hell do you give that to the
Sam for you.
performance?
That's a good
Because
point.
he loves to just give me all these big long words to say, and he refers to it as technobabble. Can't even
Technobabble.
say it right. Technobabble.
Mhm.
And yeah, I don't know. I just
Or even Treknobabble at this point.
I like that even better. Treknobabble. Giving
But I do think
Sam a
Nim
run
is-
for his money.
Yeah. But
I think-
Technobabble was an actual like Star Trek thing. In fact, they actually
okay.
would
Yeah,
actually
real
put
phrase.
that into this in the scripts. You know, in the script,
Yeah.
it would actually, you know, would have Geordi, you know, saying we need to, and then Technobabble. And then there would be a person like Andre Bermanis whose job was to literally create gibberish that
Yeah.
sounded technical. Like, we really have to realign the phase compensators of the EPS conduits to, you know, have a positronic deflector beam come out of the primary sensor dish. You know, it
Wow.
sounds good. It means freaking nothing. But
It
Disagree.
sounded
That means a
great.
lot. Tish. Always make it make sense, Jonathan.
always
in fact,
make it make sense.
And I think Nim is our star player when it comes to technobabble. She can sell that stuff the best, which is a problem because then she gets it. Because she does
Yeah.
it the best. She owns it in a way. Like, Marcus owns engineering pretty well, but he owns a lot of stuff where he just has confidence. But Nim kind of like you believe her. And there's a couple of lines in the 3 that we just released where I didn't quite believe Nim. I said do it again, and then she just sold it like, yep, nope, I entirely believe you. And there's something Nim just does.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like I think it's just, do you know what I think it is? I think it's that confidence. It's like the
You
confidence.
trust yourself now.
Yeah. To just go for it. Because
How-
sometimes I
how-
read
how-
the
how much
script
do you
and I'm
have
like,
to-
how or what even is that? Like, what am I even saying?
Well, how are you practicing this? I mean, like, for example, are you reading it in a teleprompter, or is it in your head and you've memorized it and you know that's
So it varies, because for some films it has, like, I've memorized the lines and that's just how it goes. But so for some films, especially like the shorter ones that I'm alone for, it just is easier on Sam and myself to just have the, like, we call it the auto cue, but it's like an iPad that just has the script there. And obviously, you know, you're not completely looking at the screen the whole time. Like, you're going to be, you know, engaging with the space and like I said,
Unless
if
you're talking to that alien that's
Yeah.
on the view screen.
yeah,
right
that's the
there.
only, or like if you're or if you're looking down at the console, for example, like they're the only sort of times that you would just be looking at the
And I tend to give more technobabble if it's audio cue based, because then I
Yeah.
can just give a bulk
yeah
paragraph. Or I know Nim's a fan of me doing that in voiceover. Oh, look, we happen to cut to space, and Nim can give a whole spiel back to
Yeah.
her in real life.
yeah
Cleverly used dialogue choices.
So the other thing that's obviously got to be interesting to you as an actress is that you are playing yourself at so many different times in your own life, you know, thanks to Sam and his magic aging and de-aging.
yeah
You know, I mean, you basically go from, you know, looking as young as a cadet as you were in these, you know, very recent fan films to, you know, I believe the oldest you've looked was the Tholian Gambit when you were a
Captain, yeah.
captain. You know, and everything in between.
I think that's 19 to 54.
yeah
19 to 54 being the age, not necessarily the number of appearances. Although,
Well,
I did
again,
count-
Well, to be honest, we've not worked that one out yet. Everyone
keep
always asks
donating
me,
and
like,
maybe.
Yeah, everyone always asks me, like, oh, so what's your favorite film that you've ever filmed? Or, oh, how many films have you filmed? And I'm like, I don't actually know because we have been filming since, as Sam said, like obviously since the first version of Convergence, which was I think 2019, right?
29, yeah, 18, 19, yeah.
2019. So we've been filming since then, and we've done so many films. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what's what sometimes.
Well, I did a
because
little
there's
bit
so
of homework.
much.
I did a little bit of homework before this interview, and I even said to Sam and before you got here was, you have now done 8 different Trek shorts. You have also done an appearance in the Intrepid episode Pursuit of a Dream.
Yeah.
And then you were also obviously in Temporal Anomaly.
Yeah.
And according to Sam, there's also a bunch of stuff that's in the can.
That's what I was referring to when I was talking just then. That hasn't even scratched the surface. That's what makes me laugh because there's so much that we filmed, and unfortunately there has been some films that we filmed that I don't think are gonna ever be released just because
One has been scrapped, yeah.
Yeah, like logistically it just didn't work out, which was a shame. And there's a Rachel Keeley based film that is, I'm not sure what's going on there, if it's going to be released, not re-released, or when it's going to be released. But
Not me, that one.
Yeah, I know. But that one, for example, was in the pipeline, and yeah, so there's a lot of films to maybe see.
And during a couple of Prodigy episodes as well.
If they,
just a couple.
if they do get released. So yeah, that's what I meant when I said that, because it's been such a long period of time. And
this is why it's hard to summarize. It's like hard to summarize the character because you've done more performances not released and in more juicy periods of the life, almost. So
definitely, the best is yet to come, for sure.
Yeah.
With my character, like she goes through a lot, and there's definitely some films that we have filmed that we've walked away from and we're like, wow, like I can't wait for this one to be released, because when they see this, they'll understand why Keeley kind of operates in the way she does, or like, like why
there's
she's
depth
got that like glint in her eye, or why she's got that dark, frown on her face, and
those
like
actual planned films. We do a lot of unplanned films for various reasons, but the planned ones are like the big ones normally. And then you get bonus GoFundMe films that kind of came out of the necessity to self-promote.
Yeah, because Sam is so good at writing things so damn quickly. Like, you don't understand how quick he writes. Like, I did a module at uni in script writing, and I was okay, but like, that's not really my thing. But Sam is so good at writing scripts. Like, he just comes up with them like that. Like, we had filmed on the weekend, and on the Sunday he was like, yeah, so like we'll probably be done by the afternoon, and then you can head off. On the day he was like, by the way, I wrote this like 5, 6, 7, 8 page script last night after you left, and we're going to film it today. And you're just like, what? Like, how did you do this?
I don't like half days because everything takes budget. So
I know he doesn't.
We always use the time. It's like we're always tired and walk away from shoots. We're like, we got content for thousands of people to enjoy. I never let, obviously Nim's amazing, but I never let a take go that good, like without a good take that I'm very happy with. So therefore, you always get like, that's going to be a good film, at least performance-wise.
So as a reminder, folks, once again, give money to Sam because we need to get Nim off of Sam's hard drive and in front of us on the computer. There's your pitch. Help this woman get off of Sam's hard drive.
I like that pitch.
Be great. You could have a shot of Nim behind bars, and it would just be like, and then it's like just in this. Take one of your hard drives and just like superimpose an image, inside the hard drive of Nim with the bars and whatever. That would be hilarious. Sam
to be fair, I think there's like a lot of films that, even for, like Sam sort of said earlier about how everyone has their own character journey, and the first version of Convergence, like, unfortunately didn't really work out, so we had to film it again, and obviously that came with its own trials and tribulations, and one of those was character development, chemistry between the characters. It was, at some stages, it wasn't really there, and obviously now I feel like it has developed because they've had their own character journeys to go on, and they've had various films, so it's also to get their films onto screen, because I know Marcus is definitely waiting. He's always like, release one of my films.
Okay, so Sam,
there
what
we
you
go,
really need to do
Marcus.
is you need to get every one of your actors
Yeah.
to do that shot, behind bars, and then you can have like a poster of each one, and that'll be what
Yeah.
they sign. That
I've also got to pay rent, Nick. No, it's Jonathan. Yeah, I was got to pay rent. So if only I didn't.
if only you didn't. Yeah, well, I can't help you there. But all right, so back to you, Nim. You've got a lot to keep track of when it comes to Anna's life. I mean, much more so than many actors, who play a character at just, a small part of their life, small snippet.
Mm.
You have to keep track of who Anna is at the age of 19 versus the age of
Yeah.
30 versus the age of 40, 50, what have you. So what are you doing, in your mind as you're mapping out your character and for each appearance that you have?
Honestly, I think it's just like it's a lot. It's the background sort of research, you have the given circumstances which are in the script, which tells you like what your character's like and who they are and what their relationships are. But then you have the behind the scenes, which are the conversations that, I have with myself when I'm reading the script, or like me and Sam will have after we filmed a scene or after we've read through the script. And that's kind of looking at the background of who Anna Keeley is, how she is at the different stages of her life, and not saying, I don't want to say making up a story, but it's kind of giving that background to your character so that when it comes to playing them in their different stages of life, you have a far better understanding of where they are in that moment, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think like we've talked about how Anna has, she's got some mental health struggles. She deals with a lot and she goes through a lot. She's seen war, and she's not really had the greatest run in some respects. Um, and you really do see that journey. And I know I'm referencing some films that no one else has seen, obviously, because they've not come to light yet. But there are films where you see a different side to Anna Keeley, a very harsh, almost, disturbing side to her. So it's interesting to really kind of
Sometimes we use
create
the
that
word
journey for her and
bitchy.
to see that. Yeah, I was going to say that. That's exactly the word I was thinking of. And then I thought, am I allowed to say that? I'm going to
You
keep
can
it
say
PG.
that. It's okay.
Okay, cool.
Hurt. I wouldn't say bitchy. There's so much to play with. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah,
But
but
actually,
no,
it's funny.
I would say in the Commander film, she was quite bitchy.
Well, having a bad day.
Impatient.
Yeah.
Impatient, not suffering fools gladly.
Well, it's amazing how getting experience kind of removes you from when you were that age.
Yeah.
Because obviously, even though you only might have filmed it 2 months ago, the characters lived 20 years, and so you're not quite sympathetic to young ensigns because they've lived past it. But it's funny you mentioned keeping track. Nim has never really had a problem, and we've never really said on day, "Damn, where are you?" Like we've always kind of done a good job at finding that thing. I
Yeah.
think for the most part, even though we do lots of bonus kind of content, whenever Nim is the actual lead with actual character journey, it's kind of like that's the niche we're doing to this weekend. So it's kind of like, right, we're dealing with that emotion, let's go, because that's the part of the story, right? Even if like with the DS9 film, it's to be happy.
Yeah.
Which is funny because she's not hasn't been happy for 12 films from our perspective. So to go back and be happy again was quite refreshing. And then so that's kind of just like play it positive. And then the Prodigy content, which is coming out soon, whole broad range of emotions. That is a roller coaster of things.
I'm excited to see that one because I know
Soon.
we filmed it not so long ago, but it feels very long ago.
Well, there's a lot of episodes, so
Yeah.
a lot of stuff.
I think it was it was one of our lengthier since Convergence, because obviously, Convergence was a big piece, and then I think that was secondary to that. But
Now,
no,
how is-
Sam, going off of what Sam said, like Sam's very good at giving he's a really good director. Like he will tell you, no, we need to do that again, or I think let's pick the story apart a bit. Like this is, where are you at your stage of life? Like, how do you feel about this? And he kind of sort of instills that. I guess, through his
Kind of the
directing
extra
approach.
why.
Yeah, like he'll always question things, which is a good approach for getting the real character out of you. So I think that also helps.
Yeah, I was just about to
Props
ask
to
that
Sam.
question. But I literally was just about to ask that question about the interplay between you and Sam while he's directing you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's interplay.
Well, I mean, you've been an actress for a long time, and I'm guessing, do you do acting beyond Sam's fan films and stage plays and anything else?
So unfortunately I don't still.
Oh.
It's kind of like hard to keep up, I guess, at this current stage of my life where yeah, like I work full time. It's just quite a lot. And then I film using my weekends. So yeah, for the time being, no, but I am looking to get into extra work perhaps because I feel like you can sort of that can still work alongside a job or a full-time job. So unfortunately, no, I am not
Well,
doing anything else
but on the other
after.
hand, you get to scratch that acting itch, every
Yeah.
month or so when you come down to see Sam and film with him. So, it's kind of the best of all worlds, at least for you right now. But I was going to ask, because you actually, I'm sure you did other acting, beyond Sam's films, before us, how does it compare, Sam directing you, to other people, especially, people who may have had, I could say more experience as a director at this point. Sam, you probably had a ridiculous amount of experience as a director. But you're not, from an acting background, Sam. So, when you're dealing with Sam versus more of an actor's director, is there any particular difference that you've noticed?
Do you know what? I think it's because I'm having to like go back a long time ago, like 20, yeah, like oh God, like yeah, like over 10 years ago now. And I just am thinking about a few times like from past lecturers or like I worked when I was in I think second year of uni. I was part of we had this in director that came along and he was touring his own show called Chelsea's Choice and we were working with him on basically touring that um as part of his theatre company but not tied to it and because he was yeah like it just kind of gives a different approach like when you're directing and because he had his own theatre company already doing that show and then he had us as students doing that show it was it felt a little bit more strict I would say because obviously and not it felt personal but not personally tailored to our characters it was more just like how am I going to get the best out of you as an actor whereas I feel like with Sam he thinks about both. He thinks he knows. I think it helps as well. He knows us, like we are friends of his. And me and Sam particularly have known each other for so long that we're just like, we can tell with one another like how we might be feeling or like if we're getting irritated or whatever. So I think that helps to a degree that he has that personal approach because he knows us and also he can, like I said to you before, like he questions a lot and yeah so I think yeah it's not that it's not professional I think it's just tailored differently and it has a personal feel to it whereas yeah other people in the past I think because they have been of like higher authority than myself it just naturally has that strict vibe if you want to go for that word.
I'm always curious about the directing aspect of fan films, and obviously, somebody like Sam who's directing so many of them. I mean, at this point, yeah, I mean, you're as experienced as any director, I think, out there. Last question for you, Nim. Of all of the Anna's Keeley, is that right? Or Anna Keeley?
Of all of the Anakiles.
But of all of the various ages, which is your favorite to play and which is your favorite to watch?
Oh, that's kind of a hard question.
I know. Let's save it for the last.
Favorite to play? Ah, I'm stuck on this one because I feel like I've never really liked playing the younger versions of me. I feel like she's very different to me as a person, and she kind of gets on my nerves a little bit. So for me, I don't think I would say her. It's a toss up between Commander and Captain because I feel I've only ever had, Captain Anakili once and Commander a few times. I've had more Ensign and Lieutenant and obviously now Cadet. So it was refreshing for me to play those older roles, but I feel like with that came, a higher sense of authority, different stances. Like I really got to play with who I wanted this character to be and where I was going to take them on a journey if I, could further develop that character. So I think it's a toss up between Commander and Captain for favorite to play. And then what was the other one you said? The
Favorite to watch. I mean, I'm assuming that you
favorite
watch
to
the fan films
watch.
that you've done, right?
Oh, okay. Favorite to watch. If we're talking about one specific film, then I quite enjoyed Living the Dream, like from a visual perspective. That was quite cool. CGI Nim, well, CGI Anna Keeley had me in tears. She was very funny to watch. But I think probably, yeah, like Lieutenant. I think anything Lieutenant and upwards, I enjoy watching. I think the younger versions of Anna just cringe me out a bit too much, and I'm just like, girl, stop talking.
Although you did express on the day you enjoyed playing Cadet Keely because she was different yet again. There was
I
a
liked
contrast.
her. Yeah. She
Even
was a
younger
bit
Keely.
she was a bit goofy. She
Yep.
wasn't because I feel like with Ensign, she's very she know it all. Like she's very know it all. She's very sure of herself. She's like, yeah, I'm sick and what? Like I'm gonna get this right. And then
hmm
she doesn't, and she's like, oh, maybe I need to go back inside and, read a manual or two. But Cadet is she has that down to earth feel a little bit. I think she's just a bit more like she's kind of cute. Like she's cutesy and like childlike. So I liked playing her. I just don't like I'm sorry, Ensign, but I just don't like playing Ensign.
Yeah, but you know where it's going though. You know the dark
I know where
times,
it's going.
so
I
it's
know where it's
it's
going.
there's a bit of added there. And
Yeah.
what did you think seeing yourself as baby-faced Keely?
Yeah, I kind of forgot that you'd put a filter on me. Like you de-aged
hmm
me. So when I was watching it, I was like, wow. I was like, what? Like my cheeks are really plump. Like what? And then I was like, oh, actually no. Like he's put a filter on, so it makes sense. Like he's
All
de-aged
those
me.
filters, Sam, I'll
The
tell
the,
you.
the the de-aged chubby cheeks.
Yeah.
But the
And
hair
Sam,
was all
I
yours.
dealt with them for a very long time. Like they've just started to slowly start disappearing because I was babyface Nim all throughout uni and in much of my adult years.
That's true. Sam can filter and know actually what you look like back then.
Yeah.
But the hair and the hair extensions and the blonde areas, that was all you. You brought that, or did Sam
Yeah.
bring that? Yeah, okay.
My hair's changed so much over the course of filming. Like when we started, it was a lot shorter than what it is now. It was actually like collarbone, just under collarbone length, and then it grew, and then I cut it again, and then I dyed it, and I have kind of had different hair, which has helped determine and distinguish the different characters and different stages of Anna, not different characters, sorry, the different stages of Anna's life.
So Sam, does that screw you up if you need Nim with a certain hairstyle and her hair's too long and she has to...
She is the expert at changing her look. It takes her 5 times longer than anyone else because most people just turn up and just. But then she can create the looks radically different and flawlessly. So perfection takes time. Often you forget it's the male actors who are like, "Damn, your hair's notably longer, and we can't do anything about it. Oh no." I think I changed the Marcus piece like when it was set just because he was like, "Oh yeah, my hair's long." I'm like, "Oh God!"
Oh no.
So I had to make it like I had to push it 4 years or something. Oh, I thought I had a beard once. I was like, "Shh." So Nim is like, Nim, I need to be young again. It's like, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
It works. She's a master at that. But I gotta head out, guys. But I'll leave you all to continue if you
No,
want.
that's all right. We are pretty much done.
Well, I've got to go right now, so I will let you d whatever without me. But
No,
nice seeing him.
Okay,
Talk to you
Bye,
soon.
Sam.
we're gonna say goodbye to everybody. Let's just do a quick goodbye.
A joint
Thank you
goodbye. Okay,
everybody
see
for your
you.
time, and
Thank
we
you so
will
much.
once again give money to Sam so that we can rescue Anna Keeley from his hard drive. Okay,
We have so many films. Help us make them. That's the key thing.
help us make films.
Thank you for all
Alrighty.
your support, and thank you so much, Jonathan, for having me.
Thank you everybody. Take care.
Bye.